My wife's sister, Jen, 33 female, and her husband, Matt, 35 male, welcomed their first child a few months ago. Jen didn't want a baby shower, but decided on a sip and see for close relatives to meet the baby. This happened last Saturday. My wife had met the baby before this, but it was my first time seeing them since the birth. About 2 months ago, my dad passed away unexpectedly in his sleep. It's been a tough time for me, but I'm in therapy and on antidepressants, both of which are helping. I wasn't really looking forward to attending the sip and see, but it meant a lot to my wife that I came with her, and she kind of pressured me to come since I hadn't seen the baby yet. The event was just close family, about 15 of us, and very informal. About an hour into the event, Jen asked me if I wanted to hold the baby. I told her I didn't want to, but she shoved the baby into my arms. She then sat next to me and told me that she was sorry about my dad and that they regretted not being able to attend the funeral because of the baby. I thanked her and told her not to worry about the funeral. I understand. She then went on this weird tangent about a new life springing from death and renewal of energy. I had no idea what she was talking about and just kind of nodded along. She then said that she hoped seeing and holding a beautiful baby would help me get over my loss. It was a weird comment, and I looked at her and told her, "No, this is not helping me get over the death of my dad." She got defensive and told me that it was supposed to be a joyous day to celebrate a new life, and that I should be happy and not dwell on my dad's death. I didn't want to cause a scene in front of everyone, but I was angry. I handed Jen her baby back and leaned in close to her and whispered, "Go screw yourself, Jen." I then got up, walked over to my wife, and I told her I needed to leave. I told her she could stay if she wanted, but I needed to get out of there ASAP. She asked me why, and I told her I'd talk to her about it on the drive home, or later, if she wanted to stick around. By that time, Jen had gotten up and was on a warpath. She came up to me, still holding the baby, and poked her finger at me, telling me I had no right to talk to her like that. That got everyone's attention, and now everyone was looking at us. Matt came over and asked what was going on. My wife was confused. Jen was basically yelling, and the baby was starting to cry. It was a mess. I told my wife I needed to leave, and she needed to decide right then. She ended up coming home with me. I explained what happened on a drive home, and she said she understood why I was upset by Jen's comments and agreed she was out of line, but I shouldn't have said that to her. My wife has been getting a lot of grief from Jen and her parents, basically calling me the biggest idiot they've ever met. I don't even know if an apology will help. "Look, I had a baby. That makes losing your dad so much better." I get that she might have been trying to cheer you up in some weird way, OP, but she sure chose a crackpot method to do so. Not the idiot. Jen made your father's death about her and her baby, which is weird. She tried to spout some pseudo-spiritual poetic BS when you didn't ask and clearly weren't interested. Many people don't like cussing, but I bet she brought this upon herself. You're also grieving, and she kept pushing and became defensive even after you said it wasn't helping. She could have simply apologized, gathered her child, and moved to another guest. Some people need to make everything about themselves, and Jen is definitely that person. Huge main character energy. Jen shoved the baby into OP's hands so he couldn't get away, and then tried to basically force him to say that her little miracle healed his broken heart. Dollars to donuts, she already had plans to talk about how she was so touched by this beautiful moment she invented. Part of the blame also goes to OP's wife because she forced OP to visit, even though he was not in a mental state to attend a joyful occasion and against his better judgment. When your spouse suddenly approaches you and says, "We need to leave, like now," you don't stand there asking questions. You grab and go and ask later. OP needs to make a 3D chess move by issuing a public non-apology that he's sorry he overreacted to Jen saying the presence of her infant child should cancel out any grief he feels over the death of his father, so everybody knows exactly why Jen is a major idiot. I, 41 male, have a 15-year-old cat named Buddy. I got Buddy as a kitten at the local shelter. At the time, I was dealing with personal demons. I'm a veteran and was battling PTSD and depression as a result of my combat experience. Buddy helped me to get my life together. I went from living off the bottle and scraping by to get sober, going back to school, getting a job as a consultant, and buying a house. I don't like speaking about my past, but where I am now compared to where I was is like night and day. Buddy saved my life. I love him, and he's truly my best friend. Buddy's also a really outgoing cat. He is really social with everyone, likes to cuddle, and is always purring. A year ago, I met Carly, 33 female, through a dating app. Carly and I hit it off quickly. After a few months of dating, I learned that Carly has 2 kids, Bill, preteen male, and Mary, a young female grammar schooler. I met the kids a month later, and we got along well. 3 months ago, Carly got laid off. Her lease was expiring, and things had been going well in our relationship, so we decided that Carly and the kids would move in with me. That happened a month ago. It was good, or so I thought. It was like I had my own family. Since Carly and the kids moved in, I noticed a significant change in Buddy's behavior. He was no longer outgoing, but he would hide, particularly when Carly and Bill were around. I figured this was because 3 new people were in the house, but I became a little suspicious, so I installed a nanny camera. I'm usually in the office, and Carly and the kids are home while I work. I was shocked by what I saw. On 3 occasions, the camera captured Carly kicking Buddy. It also captured Bill chasing Buddy with a stick and trying to light Buddy's tail on fire. I saw red. I asked Carly to explain herself. She didn't deny anything, but said that Buddy was just an animal and that I was acting like a liberal snowflake. After 10 minutes of arguing, I told her she had 3 days to get her things together and to leave. Carly then accused me of abandoning my family, her and the kids, for an old ball of fur that doesn't have many years left. As far as I'm concerned, Buddy is my family, not her. She also commented that she had nowhere to go. I told her she was going to have to figure it out. My friends are split on this one. Some agree with Carly. Some think I should call the cops and have Carly arrested for animal abuse. So tell me, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Sociopaths are not family. Protect Buddy. I wouldn't even give that witch and her crotch goblins 1 day to get out. Animal cruelty is unforgivable. By the way, Buddy saved your life again. Because of your suspicions, you were able to see them for what they truly were. Buddy's a hero. It's not choosing cats over people. It's choosing safety over the sociopath family. It also captured Bill trying to light Buddy's tail on fire. Bill is a preteen who's allowed to play with fire. You're choosing not to have your home burned to the ground. Cat or no, Carly's an unfit mother for letting a child that age play with the lighter unsupervised. I have a 10-year-old child. None of what you describe is normal child or parent behavior. This woman is raising monsters. These people are delusional, disgusting freeloaders. You are not a liberal snowflake. I'm sure plenty of conservatives view their pets as integral parts of their family. She's just gaslighting you by labeling you into a stereotypical group deemed to be too sensitive. Find someone who aligns with your values better, and you'll be happier. It's as simple as that. Good luck, friend. I, female 43, have 2 children, Sarah, nearly adult, and Aiden, a teen male. 9 years ago, my late husband passed away in a fatal car crash. I was devastated. I was afraid for my kids to grow up without a father, and I was afraid to be alone. Luckily, my family stepped up. My brother-in-law acted as a surrogate father for my kids. My sister and brother-in-law do not have any kids of their own, but they were happy to help us out. 5 years ago, I met my now husband, 47, and his daughter, Elizabeth, nearly adult, at a friend's housewarming party. I was hesitant to date again, but I took things slow, ensuring he was a good man to be around my kids. I discussed my kids' feelings with them, along with every important milestone, and ensured they were comfortable with my husband and stepdaughter. When he proposed and I spoke to my kids about how they felt, only one request, the promise, was made. I would make sure that my kids and I had time together, just the 3 of us still. I agreed to take my children out twice a month, just the three of us, with exceptions if need be. As my kids remembered their father and Elizabeth's mother was still in her life, 50-50 custody, we made a rule that neither of us would try to be parents to our stepkids. We're responsible for our biological kids. This was discussed with all the children together. Our kids are also allowed to choose how they feel about one another, whether or not they wish for a sibling relationship or something else. It's not up to my husband and me to decide. Back to the present day, I still regularly take my kids out twice a month for an adventure with the three of us. This could be going to dinner, a movie, the zoo, etc. I also take Elizabeth with me to get our nails done, shop, and volunteer. Sometimes my kids will come along as well. My husband and I are still responsible for our own kids. We parent them differently, but that's what's causing the problems. We are each responsible for grades, party planning, rewards, punishments, special parent-child time, chore list, and curfews and rules. The issue is that I'm far more active in my kids' lives than my husband is. I regularly celebrate my children, attend all their events, and keep up with their grades. I know where my kids are. I listen to their concerns and speak about their lives. My husband doesn't do those things for my stepdaughter. I think I underestimated how much this is creating tension between our kids. Elizabeth and Aiden don't interact with one another. Elizabeth and Sarah absolutely despise one another. Sarah and Aiden are best friends. My husband came to me yesterday and said we needed to discuss how Sarah and Aiden, mostly Sarah, treat Elizabeth. He pointed out several instances of exclusionary behavior, such as Sarah driving Aiden around but not Elizabeth, Sarah and Aiden deciding to have 2 bedrooms across the house from Sarah. Originally, Aiden and Elizabeth would have had them, and Sarah not inviting Elizabeth on her birthday trip to Cedar Point, despite them having the same friend group. Sarah spends money buying Aiden gifts, but not Elizabeth. Aiden refuses to allow Elizabeth to use his technology. Sarah and Aiden only do things Elizabeth doesn't enjoy while at home, or stop when Elizabeth wants to join. Aiden refuses to cook for Elizabeth. Sarah buys all 3 of them locks for their bedroom doors, which my husband claims was only to make it look like Sarah did something nice for Elizabeth. My husband claimed that I was the cause of this problem by setting the example of excluding Elizabeth with the promise I made to my kids. He demanded that I stop the practice and start treating Elizabeth like my own kid. I said no, as that's not part of our agreement. Elizabeth isn't the one who's asking me. He isn't willing to step up and act as a father to my kids, and my children come first. I will always make them feel valued. I'm the only one who ever plans anything for the kids. Since we've bought a house together, he's only planned birthday parties for Elizabeth, nothing else. He doesn't plan family trips, dinners, or celebratory events. I know he won't put any effort in for my kids, as he barely does for his own. When I brought this up to him in the past, he said it was not my problem and reminded me of our agreement. Oh, and since I didn't add it in, I'm going to speak to both of my kids separately and then together to understand their behavior. So, am I the idiot for refusing to break the promise to my kids? You are the idiot. Why stay with a man who treats his own child so terribly? This is what I don't understand, how anyone, especially a parent, could stay with someone knowing they're essentially a deadbeat parent. Is the intimacy really that good that his poor treatment of his own child is fine to ignore? I also don't understand why you, as a parent, allow your kids to mistreat Elizabeth so much. That's entirely on you, and it is extremely poor parenting. It sounds like everyone in this house treats Elizabeth as if she's a second-class citizen. I'm wondering if something happened with Elizabeth, or if she's not being honest about everything being cleared with the kids. Why would they both stonewall and bully Elizabeth unless something happened, or they were against her from the start? Something is wrong here. Armchair point of view, but from reading what OP wrote, my guess is that hubby and ex have 50-50 custody because he doesn't want to pay child support, not because he actually wants to be a dad. If that were the case, Elizabeth would have done much better with her mom. The dad sounds like trash, and Elizabeth probably isn't getting much help from the rest of the household. I feel bad thinking about how alone she must feel. Again, I'm making assumptions, so I want to be wrong. Regardless, I hope OP doesn't have a child with him. I, 52 male, have 2 kids, J, 26 male, and Katie, nearly adult female. To make this story easier to understand, I'll give some info up front. My wife passed away 9 years ago. My son is female to male trans and had not yet transitioned at the time. Growing up, my son always had a fascination with his mother's wedding dress, and she always told him he could wear it to his wedding. The dress was never willed to him or anything of the sort. It has remained in my care since my wife passed. My son and I have never discussed his mother's wedding dress at all. My daughter frequently says she wants to wear it to her wedding someday. Well, my son recently proposed to his long-term girlfriend, Valerie, 26, and we've all been very excited for them. They're currently in the early stages of wedding planning, and my son came to my house recently asking for his dress. I was a bit confused and asked what he meant. He said he wanted his mother's wedding dress to be repurposed so he could wear it at his wedding. He did specify that he wanted to do this to feel like he had a piece of his mother at his wedding. I asked if it would be possible to make the alterations reversible, as his sister also wants to wear the dress. He looked at me like I had 2 heads and told me the wedding dress would most likely be torn apart and the fabric sewn into different pieces of clothing, but that it would be for him and Valerie to decide. I told him I couldn't give him the dress if he was going to alter it in a way that would make it unusable for his sister. He started to get angry and said he can do anything he wants with it, as it's his. I told him his mother intended for him to wear it as a dress, not destroy it. I know she would never allow that. She loved that wedding dress, and it meant a lot to her, as it was a gift from her grandmother, who unfortunately passed away about 8 months after the wedding. My son turned this into a huge argument and accused me of being phobic. He claims that if he were a girl, I would have no problems with him taking the dress. I told him I would have the same stipulations, as I personally view it as unfair that one child gets to use it and the other doesn't. My son escalated things and has gotten other relatives involved. My sister thinks I'm a massive idiot, and my wife never said Katie could have the dress, so it shouldn't go to her in the first place. While my wife's parents are saying I'm in the right. I have no contact with my parents and most of my extended family due to how they responded to Jay transitioning, so these are the most important people in my life. Katie's told me that she does still want to wear the dress, but she'll let Jay have it if it's going to break apart the family. I'm still conflicted about the whole thing, but I'm putting my foot down for now. So am I the idiot? Not the idiot. This has nothing to do with your child being trans. He wants to destroy a beautiful wedding dress. No way in heck is that reasonable. It's a wonderful memory of you and your wife. When I first started reading, I figured your son would ask for the dress for his soon-to-be wife to wear. Just nope. Wearing it and deconstructing it are 2 totally different things. And if the daughter uses it, it can continue being passed down. If the son destroys it to repurpose, even the repurposed thing will likely never be worn again. Tell Jay you're idiot phobic. Hence you cut your parents out for him, and you stand up for Katie too. Indeed, OP. Keep that dress away from Jay or any visitors who support his side. This would be when the dress goes missing and destroyed out of spite and entitlement. Hopefully they don't have a key to your house and they don't know where the dress is stored. The dress should belong to Katie now and should be passed down to any daughter of hers as an heirloom. It's best to get it insured or written in a will so that there are actual consequences if things go south. Don't cave in to his bullying and ridiculous demands. Katie's also your late wife's child as well. You need to protect her interest in this situation. It's not fair on Katie.